This video is part of a docuseries detailing stories of viral videos and clips from the internet. I'm breaking them down to provide some context for what you may or may not come across with internet access. These stories are intended for mature audiences and viewer discretion is advised. Welcome back, and thank you to everyone for tuning in. We have another series of stories to share today. Go grab your food and open up your telly to see the full video so you know what you're looking at. The first incident comes from 2014 in Omaha, Nebraska, in which a sound supervisor for the television show Cops was fatally wounded while covering an encounter between police and an armed robber. I know we are all familiar with Cops. It was a very popular TV show for a long time, and the YouTube clips are still very viral to this day. The incident took place at a Wendy's in Omaha at 9:20 p.m. when a detective requested backup for a robbery in progress inside the restaurant.
Robert, 5 doors 11. Give me your location. Wendy's 4-3 in Dodge. It's suspect wearing that black hoodie.
Someone just robbed it?
We in the area?
Yeah.
Hit that light. That's clear. You make 46, you make 47. Have you close the ground?
We're arriving.
That's clear, make 46. You make 47.
Same description, Brooks? You got somebody running up.
Within a minute, Officer Brooks Riley and Jason Williams arrived, accompanied by cameraman Michael Lee and Bryce Dion. The three officers entered the restaurant, accompanied by the film crew, and immediately confronted the suspect, 32-year-old Cortez Washington, who was holding a handgun. Cortez discharged his handgun, and witnesses saw the slide recoil with the shots. The officers returned fire, and though Cortez was injured, he was able to flee out the door, but collapsed in the parking lot. While Cortez was on his way out, Bryce was struck by a round coming from one of the officers. Police fired 36 shots total, with one hitting Bryce underneath his bulletproof vest, striking him in the armpit.
Are you alright? Are you alright? Bryce, are you alright? Bryce, are you alright? Bryce! We need a squad here, we need a squad. Bryce! Bryce, stay with me, man, stay with me!
Bryce fought for 20 minutes, but the injury proved fatal. Both Cortez and Bryce were killed that night. Bryce's estate filed a wrongful death lawsuit against the city of Oklahoma that was dismissed in 2019 by the judge. The judge said those officers were forced to make a split-second decision in their use of deadly force under the circumstances that were tense and rapidly evolving. The city argued the use of force was justified, and Bryce assumed the risk associated with the assignment. During the case, the police officers testified, saying that if they had saw Bryce in the line of fire, they would not have done what they did. One of the officers claimed to have saw a Wendy's employee in his line of fire, and he repositioned before firing again. Cortez's weapon turned out to be an airsoft pistol that was mistaken for a real firearm. At the time of the incident, Dion was the first crew member to have been seriously injured by the filming in 30 series of Cops. Okay, this next story is one that could come straight out of a movie scene. It's unlike any of the stories I've told so far, as the suspect in this story is a grizzly bear. It is also like any of the other stories because there is no video, just pictures. However, if you have seen the photos of the incident, you might be curious as to how what happened is even humanly possible. The victim of the story is 77-year-old man Glenn Bohn. In 2016, on April 25th, while on his annual spring bear hunt with his son Brett and other partners, they were on a snowmobile in a pursuit of a grizzly bear when they chased it to a hangout. There, the bear turned around and launched at Glenn, dragging him down a slope at run. The son, Brett, said it looked like a semi-truck hitting a fire hydrant. 1 second my dad is on his knees in shooting position, and then he's gone and they are both down the mountain. The bear just hit him and grabbed him behind the neck like prey. Brett and the crew rushed after them and quickly pulled out a .454 Casull handgun and shot the bear in the neck, making it stumble, where he shot it repeatedly until it rolled down the mountainside. Brett said after a few seconds his father was moving and talking like normal. This is unbelievable. If you have seen the photos, they are shocking, truly. Brett described his father choking on his own skin and knew there was little he could do. He then transported his father using the snowmobile to a nearby location where Glenn was then airlifted to an emergency treatment. I'm not sure how true this part of the story is, but supposedly Glenn rejected the first location of treatment due to previous issues with staff at that location, and he was then redirected to a different hospital where they just so happened to have one of the best facial reconstruction programs. Regardless of that being true or not, Glenn is still a hard-headed individual. He was a 77-year-old man who survived a bear attack and now keeps the grizzly in his house with a skull. It is a pretty amazing story and a true testament to medical practices. If you have seen the images of the incident, you are well aware of how great the surgeons did piecing him back together. I know these stories are all over the place, but try to stick with me. This next one comes from West Rand, Africa, and details a fatal argument between co-workers working at the largest gold producer in South Africa, Stillwater. This incident is recent, occurring on November 9th, 2023, but is a result of incidents occurring beforehand. In June, the suspect of the story, 43-year-old Boinheleo Lefafe, accidentally sprayed his co-worker at Sabane named Alfino Makovo, which started a fight amongst the two. The fight resulted in Boinheleo's eye being injured, and he was forced to be hospitalized for a month. When Boinheleo had healed and returned back to work, he learned both him and Alfino were being placed on suspension as a result from the altercation. This made Boinheleo mad because he felt he was the victim in the incident because he was hospitalized for such a long time. It further led him to open an assault case with the police due to the altercation as a retaliation for him being suspended on work. But 4 weeks went by and no arrests were made, which further angered him. So on that day, November 9th, he drove to a nearby work hostel where he knew Alfano would be. According to reports, Boinheleo walked in looking for Alfino, and when he found him, he attacked him with his blade. The nearby colleagues called the police while the attack was still going on, and many people recorded the incident while it unfolded. After the attack, Boinheleo waited with the late Alfino sitting next to him, and Boinheleo was taking selfies of what he had just done. The following Monday, Boinheleo appeared in court and is facing a premeditated murder charge, but the case is ongoing as they're still collecting evidence. That's all the stories for today. You know where to find the footage we discussed, and if you enjoyed the stories and want to hear some more, subscribe and tune in to next week's video.